Welcome to the Falcon News Podcast. Everything you need to know to ship like a pro. In this podcast, we will be sharing our true experiences, lessons learned, and challenges faced in the freight forwarding industry. Today, meet Alex, the CRO of Falcon.
Today's subject is the essentials of freight forwarding insurance. Hello, Alex.
Hi, Mary.
What is cargo insurance and why is it important for business involved in shipping or transportation?
Well, what is insurance? I guess it's an assurance, if you will, that you will get insured if your cargo ends up at the bottom of the ocean. I think that is something, or damage, for example, along the road. I think it's important to keep in mind that it's more of a safety net for you in case something does happen, right? You may be transporting a $1 million machine, but you may not have the resources to cover it if something were to happen. You want to get insured. Then you have a third party backing you up. And when it comes to why it's important for businesses to have this, to be honest, as a freight forwarder, why we should have it is a little different, I guess, than why the shipper should have it. But from our side, I would say it's a mitigation of risk. If we're able to provide peace of mind to the client, saying that they're going to get their freight covered dollar for dollar, door to door, and we don't have to worry about anything after if anything does happen because we know they're covered. And I think from our side, then I think it's providing the freight forwarder with a peace of mind, which is one of the, I think, toughest thing to get as a freight forwarder since we handle so much. But I would say insurance is a pretty important factor that sometimes we forget to include, I guess, on the day to day.
As a freight forwarder, what advantages does selling a tool like insurance provide?
Yeah, so really it's, I think there's a few advantages. One of the main ones I would see, as I said earlier, was to fight risk, I guess. Another would be providing us with an additional revenue stream, which I believe to be, an added service to, complementary to what we provide. It's an easy. I guess it would be an easy item to sell, but not everybody wants to jump on board and buy it. And I guess the ones that do want it sometimes want it after their cargo's at the bottom of the ocean. So it is an additional revenue stream, and it is a good way for freight forwarders to mitigate risk and kind of push that risk off back to the shipper and the buyer. But I think there's the main advantage would be I really believe it would be to cover us and our client in case of damage, and it avoids this whole awkward situation where we have to justify ourselves and they have to point the finger at us. And if we have insurance, at least it's covered and we can avoid all that. So it's a win-win.
How does the claim process work in cargo insurance, and what should business know about filing a claim?
Yeah, I haven't had a good claim yet go through. It's funny because when you first get a claim, everybody starts to act like detectives, if you will. They all everybody's looking at pictures and emails and putting their whole, dossier together. We have pictures and, they're pointing fingers here. And I think that's the first step, and gathering all the information is definitely a big part of it. But after that, I think people start following the process, then you start holding everybody responsible. Everybody's politely pointing the finger at everybody. And then, of course, you let your insurance know that you've gotten yourself into a sticky situation. And then, of course, it's really hard to do, and people really have to get, I guess, in the habit of doing is letting the insurance company really do their thing without too much involvement. And there's limited liability, of course, in insurance, and there's full coverage insurance, which is obviously something that we push to give. But naturally, when you're dealing with insurance in general, I really believe that if you're filing a limited liability claim, when you're really relying on the carrier's minimum liability insurance, you may not get back what the value of the cargo is. So it's better to really get third-party insurance, additional insurance, cover yourself dollar for dollar, door to door, port to port, whatever it may be, and really put that as an advantage. Even if it costs a bit more, it's really a fantastic way for yourself to cover your cargo. So,
what are the key risks and challenges that cargo insurance helps to mitigate?
So I think we can relay back to my previous statement where, the purchasing insurance does cover your cargo, but I think it also helps to mitigate the risk of misunderstanding and pointing the fingers at one another, when something does go wrong. And I find in our industry, we seem to do that a lot, very easy to point the finger at somebody, at the other person, and then, it's really a good way to sour a relationship. You can lose a client in a matter of minutes. But if your cargo is insured, this problem seems to not really be there just as significantly, I guess, in your face, if you will. It's more of we got the cargo covered, let's go through the process, we're going to get the money back. It doesn't matter whose fault it is, we have it covered. So I think it helps mitigate a lot of misunderstanding and also mitigate the loss of business that you can have as a result of a misunderstanding or a claim.
Well, thank you, Alex, for sharing the essentials of freight forwarding insurance.
My pleasure.
Thank you for listening. If you like this episode, please take the time to add your comments below and follow us. Go to falconfreight.ca to learn more.